What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to another episode of Talking Buffalo, your weekday daily driver for Buffalo Sports Talk and more. My name is Patrick Moran. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, however you consume Talking Buffalo. Appreciate you guys very, very much. Big shout out to our sponsors, Sunny Reds, 1841 Abbott Road, just on the way from Highmark Stadium, and of course, Imperial Pizza as well. 2 locations, including my favorite in the heart of South Buffalo, 1035 Abbott Road, home of the best lunch special in town. All right, folks, so this is our Thursday podcast on the audio side. Video side, we are actually not advertised ahead of time. Decided to do this today. We are live on the video side, and since he wasn't here to do the post-game show like he will be for the majority of the year because I was actually at the stadium watching an historic game. I'm joined right now by Joe from Queens. What's going on, dude? How you doing?
How's it going, man? Living the dream. How you doing today?
It's been a day. We've already agreed to both leave it at that. It's been a day, man. It's been a week. A lot of good stuff too, though. Like I said, so. If you've been missing a couple days here at Talking Buffalo, Joe, as you hear the crackling in the can, that's coming in a second. But anyway, Joe was actually in town in Buffalo this past weekend. We're going to talk about that. Some pretty cool stuff. We hung out for a little bit on Saturday. You were at that game. We're going to have a lot to talk about. But again, if you could hear it in the background, crackling of the beer, what do you got there, man?
Oh, look at Tooch is already in the chat. My boy,
My
Tooch.
man, Tooch. Yes.
I'm really excited about this beer. So this is a Pils Country, it's called. It's from KCBC, which is in Brooklyn. And I've had their beer on the show a few different times. And what makes this beer great is it's a Bills beer. And it's in Brooklyn. And there's things when I talk about, being an expat from Buffalo here, and since we've lived with the Josh Allen experiment, like there's moments where you're like, oh my God, like this is so surreal. Like it's like those moments where you're like seeing Josh Allen in the open of like the NBC, Sunday Night Football, whatever. He's in commercials. I don't know what it was, but when I saw this was becoming a thing, like a Brooklyn brewery was making a Bills beer, and this beer, it's for expats basically. They actually have the beer in Buffalo. It's at Fatty's in North Tonawanda, from what I looked up before. And okay. It's a Pilsner, so you could drink it because you don't like the heavy IPAs.
No, hate it.
But yeah,
Pilsner's up my alley.
Yeah, this is 4.6%, which is pretty good for a Pilsner. And to see a beer that's brewed in Brooklyn and that's a Bills beer, it's just so surreal. Like, what? And, I'm sure like if people are going up to the game this weekend, they'll probably have this beer at tailgates over in, Jersey or, when they're playing the Jets. But yeah, and the can's really cool. They do a lot of cool art stuff. If you see it on the screen, it's really cool. It's got like some New York. Yeah, it's got some New York City stuff on there. Like there's a chicken wing with the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, it's pretty rad. So, but yeah, bottoms up to them. It's good. I'm always enjoying these podcasts with you, man, because it's a good excuse for me to drink beer. And
as I'm drinking a coffee here at
coffee at 9:00 at night.
I know.
I
had to stay up, man. Had to stay up. But cool stuff with the beer. All right, so we're gonna get into, like I said today, lots of stuff. I think Josh Allen's the best player in the world right now. That's not a. What is that? What is it Paul Heyman saying now? You're a wrestling guy. We're both wrestling people.
That's not a prediction. That's a spoiler.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. It's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. So we're going to hit. I want to talk about that today. I want to talk about, not including Josh Allen, a couple of the things that I'm sure we liked the most from this game and the scariest things about this team maybe going forward. Trey White was back at practice on Wednesday. Should he start over Dorian Strong this week if he's healthy and good to go? We'll hit on that. Maybe we'll spend a few minutes talking about the New York Jets as well. So that's what's going to be on tap. Big props to everybody. I'm just starting to get around to it now. Pretty active chat, like you said. Tooch, Ryan Tonjan, Ralph Wilson Sr.,
Ralph
my
from
man
hell.
Ranger. I'll get to a bunch of these too. Richard Rush, a lot of the regulars. I feel like it's not a live show on the video side. It's not a live chat if Tooch is in there. I love seeing that here because here's a little inside secret too. Like sometimes Joe and I will be bitching at each other, like in text or direct messages, whatever you want to call it. And one of us will have an idea or something. And Tooch always comes up as the example where I'm like, well, who cares? Tooch might care, but whatever. You know what I mean? It's that topic is not going to work or whatever it may be, or the opposite way. But anyway, Tooch is always a name that gets thrown around between Joe and I when we're arguing usually about something. So it's always cool to see him. All right, let's start it. Let's spend a few minutes at least talking about this. Like I said, last weekend, and by the way, major props to Steve Bermel, who filled in for you last Sunday, late show. And I got to tell you, that was not an easy show to do because it certainly felt like the Bills were going to lose that football game. And you know how it is, like if you're writing a story or if you're putting notes together, you always cheat. You start to get ahead of it a little bit. And it certainly looked like, like in hockey, that was almost like a 3-goal lead in the third period. You start writing the game story. And then all of a sudden, things change and you're on the fly. Anyway, it was an adrenaline-filled podcast. Not that easy to do for that reason because of just how dramatically everything switched. So he did an awesome job. So big shout out to Steve for filling in. And you'll see plenty of him throughout the season. But anyway, you weren't on the show because, like I said, you did come up from Buffalo or from New York City to Buffalo. If memory serves me correct, this was like your first trip since getting married and having a kid, right? By yourself up here?
Technically, I kind of embellished that a little bit because I went back in when I was actually at the draft party at Resurgence. I was there by myself, but I was only there for like a day and a half. It was mostly to take care of my mom because she broke her hip. So it wasn't like I was going to town. Like this time I was going to town. Like I saw you at at RiverWorks with Podfather and Dell was there.
We're gonna talk about Podfather. I thought that was a funny moment, but
yeah. But like that was like the first one where it was like, I've for new people on this podcast, I've been talking about for a couple of years now how all I wanted was my wife to get me like tickets to a Bills game, whether it was like the opener was like what I wanted or like a playoff game. And luckily she came through. I love her. For that, and I loved her before that too. So, but it was awesome. And then I got the ticket from someone on Twitter who had seasons, and they gave me they had 2 tickets, and they usually bring someone randomly or a friend of theirs, and they sold it to me at face value. So shout out to Buffalo Hippie if she's listening. But she sold it to me for face value, and it was awesome. It was an incredible weekend. And let's
start by going, well, you and I met up Saturday afternoon. All right, so before the game, rally at the river that was at Buffalo RiverWorks. I'll tell you what, the Bills Mafia Boat Parade, you showed up there, you were with your sister and your niece. Like I said, there was a boat parade going on. WGR had a live podcast or broadcast going on. Joe Marino, who you affectionately call the Podfather. I got a fun little quick story about relating to you during my conversation with him. But anyway, he was there. He did a show. Then there was music after, which, to be honest with you, that was the end of me. You had left anyway. It was too loud.
Yeah, you and I would never agree on anything, but you and I both hate live music. And that's the only thing we agree on.
I gotta love the band. If I'm not there specifically and only to see the band, I don't want to be there because I like to socialize, I like to talk, and it just gets so loud. You can't even have conversations with people sometimes when live music is playing. But let me tell everybody out there a quick little story. If you are a regular to the show and or if you know Joe, and whether it's through this podcast, whether it's on Twitter or Blue Sky, suppose as well, you constantly are referring to the Bills Bro Beat and the Content Bros.
Yep.
Sometimes in a funny, kind of like harmless, joking manner, and sometimes you are really on them for real. And Joe Marino is one of them, and you call him the Podfather. So you weren't there at RiverWorks yet on last Saturday. I'm outside. I'm watching some of the boats. I'm with a small group of friends, and my phone rang, and it's Joe Marino. Joe's calling me, asking where I am outside, and we look at it, and it turns out we're only like maybe 40 feet from each other. So anyway, I go up to him. We start having a conversation, just, shooting the shit, talking about his show coming up there and all that. And your name comes up. I said, Joe from Queens is here. And Joe Marino goes, I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about him. I'm like, no, Joe likes you. I mean, Joe respects you. You're probably one of the 3 content creators out there that Joe actually kind of likes. And I could just tell that he was kind of nodding, and he was also with his wife too. So like I said, we're having that conversation, and I could just tell he was like kind of guarded when it comes to you and, how you might feel about him or what you might say or whatever have you. So fast forward a little bit further, he's in there getting ready for his show, and I meet up with you. You show up, and I remember telling you, I was like, he's getting ready to go out. You probably don't want to bother him at this point. But anyway, you do anyway. You make a beeline there.
Yeah, because it was not to take your heat away, but like it was the strangest thing because I was like, Pat, like introduced me to him. Oh, he's got to prepare for his live show.
Well, going on in a few minutes.
It's Keith Richards going out for his final performance. I'm like, dude, he's going out to pump the crowd up. He could say hi to me. And like at first I'm like, what, does he not? I mean, like he doesn't want me to be caught with him, and he's gonna fight me. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna go and make a beeline. I talked to Derek Kramer before because he was there with his show on GR, and I talked to him and said hi to him. And then I went to the Podfather and said hello, and we briefly talked. He kind of reciprocated the same conversation you shared a little bit, and I was like, no, I like Podfather. I think his nickname's really good. Like it's not too like demeaning.
It's a good nickname. It's a good nickname as long as he knows the context. Because again, with you, you never know when you're being playful with someone or when you just flat out don't like them when it comes to
I haven't had an issue. Like I really do like his show with Ostrowski and Jeremy. I really do.
Bill Squad.
Yeah, I didn't really listen to him too much before that because I can only listen to so many of like I don't listen to your crap every day because it's a lot of it's kind of like the same. It feels like not. Fair. It's just kind of like, okay, like unless something big happens, like if something big happens during the week, I'll listen. But if it's like, we're going to count down the best training camp players, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. But I like his show with them. And I think he does a really good job. And look, a lot of people were there at that thing. There was a line to meet him. There was no line to meet you. I try to get people to meet you.
You tried to take a picture demeaning me as well.
I did.
So Joe took a picture of me who was sitting at a table with my buddy Ryan, but that was about it, by myself. And then in the shadow, you could see Joe Marino there with like a whole bunch of people trying to be around waiting to meet him. But go ahead.
But good for him. Like he seems cool. Like he seemed fine. Like I don't know him that well. I don't really talk too much with him on Twitter, but I like his show. And look, that's a lot for me to say. And I'm done pandering to Joe freaking Marino. So we're done. No more pandering. No more pandering to the Podfather.
A fan who was there said to me, because he knows you too. He was like, I said, hey, Joe from Queens is here, by the way. He goes, I'm a big fan, listen to you all the time. I said, well, Joe from Queens is there. And you were over talking to like Derek Kramer from GR and like whoever else was there at WGR, maybe a few other people. I didn't recognize who they were there, but he called you Pandering Joe, and I thought that was actually hilarious.
Yeah. No, but it was fun to go to that thing. Thank God for my sister because my niece was going to drive me there, and she's 20, and I've always dreamed about having like a designated driver who's my niece and be like, drive me everywhere. I'm going to get shit faced, and you're going to drive me there. And my sister was like, look, I'll come. And my sister's like 10 years older than me. She used to be a Bills fan, or she is a Bills fan, but she used to be really into it. She goes, I'll come. I'm like, all right. My niece went in there.
She was cool.
Yeah, my niece.
She had enough though. At one point, you could tell she's like, "I'm over this."
Who, my sister? Oh, she'd stay there. No, well, my niece left in 5 minutes. Like she literally got there, was all in black because she's like I would say like a punk rock girl. She's not a football fan, and like if you don't care about the Bills and you walk into that area, you're gonna be like, "What the f is this?" And so like she was there for 5 minutes and left. So I was lucky that my sister drove too. So my sister was like, she liked it. She enjoyed it. And, she's tired. She's your age. You're both kind of old.
I was getting a little tired. Not going to lie.
Yeah. So, but like I enjoyed it there. The beer was good.
You met up with Dell. You talked to Del Reed.
I talked to Dell. I had my sister buy some Dell stuff. I'm just going to call it Dell stuff. I'm not going to call it
not 26 shirts. It's Dell stuff.
It's Dell stuff. She bought some Dell stuff. I bought something for my wife. I bought her like a Mafia Babes shirt. So yeah, look, it's and we'll get to the game, but it was great. Like
It was a
I don't
fun
even.
event.
It was a fun event, but I'm now, it was cool. Like I enjoyed it. I know you loved it because you got to rub elbows with Podfather and everyone that you pander to. But yeah, it was a cool event. The rally was nice. I wish I could have got drunk. Oh, and you did buy me a drink, so I appreciate that. That was very nice of you.
I
You
was
did do
drinking
that.
water, by the way. I am on sober September, but I'm going to be honest with you. I broke it already. I broke it about 2 hours after you and I were after you and I were done hanging out. I ended up.
I really wanted to see this drunk Saturday Pat Moran, and I couldn't see any
Saturday.
of it. Day drink Saturday Pat. I mean, I couldn't see.
I'm determined to just do something and stay disciplined. But like I said, I broke. God. I did have a beer at O'Neill's, which is across from the Bills Stadium. I literally only had one beer, though. By the way, last thing about Rally at the River, too. Like I said, you met a couple other people. I know you, it was a brief interaction, but you met Maniac. That was the first time you met Maniac from Trainwreck Sports, too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool.
He told me where Dell was because I went to go chat with Dell. So,
good dude, man. But anyway, it was a real good crowd, good fun time. And then Sunday, you texted me. You were at the freaking stadium at like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yes,
I was like, yeah, this motherfucker ain't making it to the game.
No,
man.
That
was my first thought.
I will say this, and I'll go through my day a little bit. Like, I want to really live it up. This is a solo dad trip. I'm a I don't want to say stay at home dad. Like I work from home, but like I can kind of do my own schedule when I'm working. So I'm always with this kid. So which is great. I love it. But this is I'm going to enjoy this, and enjoying it at 45 doesn't mean like getting shit faced and drinking out of a bowling ball and, falling into tables. Does. No, it doesn't. Dude, you don't even go to games. You're a sellout. Okay. Like I was about to get to that point to you, but going there is just like you're breathing it in. Like we parked at my wife just came home and I waved to her on video. But we parked at Hammer's Lot. We went there we got there at 10:30, and I went with my buddy Tom. He's actually on Twitter. And my wife is mimicking me right now. This is not. No, I'm on a podcast right now. Go back. No, hi. See, Pat's gonna beat you up, or not gonna beat you up. He's gonna yell at you. Anyways. I get there at 10:30 and, I'm just like, okay, I got to pace myself. So I got like a bunch of hay burners and I drank like 4 of them probably in like an hour and a half. And then I had a shot. And at that point I'm like super tired because I got up at 8 and I had not slept very well since I got back. Like I didn't sleep well on Saturday and I'm up at 7:00 usually with the kid. So I'm like feeling it. I'm like, okay, I have to chill or I'm going to fall asleep. It wasn't like I was drunk. It was just, I was exhausted. So, through all the, the tailgating was great. Like I went to different tailgates. Like I went to, there was a Thin Man Brewery has like a little tailgating spot. I went there because a friend of mine who used to live here works for them. Mm-hmm. I saw Brother Bill and I never had met him in person before.
This is super good, nice. He was
nice.
Guy.
He was cool. Yeah, I got, he was cool. I met him a long time ago. Prescott Rossi, he's on the Goose's Roost, and he used to be in television. I met him because he was there. I said hi to him. Who else did I see? I saw Dell in the middle of the street. Like I was walking with the person I went to the game with, and all of a sudden I see Dell in the middle of the street, and Dell's got a giant chicken wing chain on, and I wanted to eat the chicken wing, and we took a photo, like all of us, and I went back to the Hammer Lots or whatever to hang out. I think I did another shot. But I paced myself. Like I was good. I mean, I drank a lot. Like if I'm pacing myself, I probably drank like, I don't know, 11, 12 beers probably, maybe, give or take. But it was throughout the whole day, and I ate, and that was the key. And as long as and these beers were like, they weren't the high octane like I normally would, the IPA, like getting on my ass.
Is Mrs. Joe from Queens intently listening on
yeah, she's listening and she thinks
stories.
Yeah, well, she thinks I'm denying all this because I talked to her and I was like, I called her and I was excited to see her because I saw her in my nephew's, and I was like, oh hey, because I get excited when I'm drinking. She's like, oh, you're drunk, and I'm like, I'm not drunk, I'm fine, I have a buzz. Like that's it. There's a difference between drunk and having a buzz. Okay, sure. I'm 210 pounds, so like I'm 210 pounds. I weigh myself. And so anyways, but I really want you, Pat, like before we get to the game, I really think before you leave Earth one day because you ate too many chicken wings and you had too many beers or whatever, you need to just go to a Bills game. You need to go to a tailgate. I know you
Tailgate.
Talking
Sure.
Buffalo is your life and your entire world. I mean, have Matt Rich Warren the seventh take over for one night. You know, I know you want to listen to the cover 5 and listen to their takes and seal them, but like, I'm just saying, like, it is to go through that tailgate, and I feel bad that the last tailgate I went to was 2001, and that was during COVID still, so it wasn't as like amazing, like, you know, because we were still like kind of freaked out a little bit, but. It was just going through the tailgate and eating people's food and hanging out with friends, you know, and it worked out perfectly. I got to my seats. Like, I wasn't late for the game because I was paranoid because that's what happened with the Colts game. I was late to get in, and I saw the intros and everything, and the tailgate was great. It's fun, and I really loved it.
Mark brings up a comment, which I want to get to in a second. Mark said he was talking that we got a nice little conversation. He's got a side conversation with Tooch going on in our live chat. He said, to be honest, though, if I was there, I would have left early. I live far from the stadium. So we're going to get to that. I want to ask you about that in just a second. But to your point, I won't go to a game, and it's not because of the show. I just don't like going to games. I would rather watch them on TV. The tailgate part, though, you are right. The tailgate part, I'll give you. You're right. I could go there, and I could go have a good time. Some of our shows, which, by the way, we're not going, Joe and I will not be going on live immediately after games if they're a 1 or 4:15 game, because we're going to be doing 9 p.m. live shows this season. If it's a primetime game, then obviously we got to go on live after, but I will definitely have some opportunities. I will go to a tailgate or two if it's not too cold, because I don't like being cold.
Well, you better hurry up with the cold thing.
No shit, man. Maybe I'll do maybe the Saints game in a couple of weeks. I could possibly do something.
Yeah, let's just go down there.
I'm always setting some. I'll probably have some kind of content angle or blah 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 to it. We're going to talk about, well, we're not really going to talk about the game for the most part because, look, man, this is a Thursday podcast drop. We're closer to playing the Jets now than we are, removed from this game. We've been talking about it all week, so we're not going to go like through the whole game.
Sure.
That's kind of the spirit of this show. This is a more conversational episode that we're having tonight, obviously, considering it's 22 minutes in. We haven't really talked about the Bills much, but so you were at the stadium, all right? Well, I have not had an opportunity to ask anybody all week long on this show or just in my conversations with somebody who was there. You did not leave. You were there for the end, right? Yeah, you were, because I saw your celebration vids on Instagram.
They were there. I was very excited. Yeah. So
how many from what you saw? What would say the last 5-10 minutes of the game? How many people? From your observation, filed out of that stadium? Like when the Bills came all the way back and won, was there a shitload of people gone already, or was there still a lot of people, and was it a very small majority or minority, that left? Maniac from Chainwreck Sports, I saw him on social media. He admitted, he left the game early.
Yeah.
Well, how many people left early from what you could tell?
I thought like half the stadium left, and it was right after the Bills. Yeah, it was right after when the Bills punted. You know, it became 40-25. The Bills got the ball back. They punted, and that's when I noticed like an exodus. And I couldn't believe it at that moment. I was like, oh my God, people are like out of here really fast in terms of that. And I'm not here to pass judgment. Like in that moment, I kind of was a little bit, but then I thought about it the next day, and I was like, okay, I get it. But like in that moment, I was like, man, I mean. You know, the offense has been okay today. It hasn't been like amazing, but they are moving the ball. And, they got their timeouts. I was like, let's see what happens. Because I'm like, if Baltimore gets a first down on this drive, like, we're out. We'll go. Like, I'm not one of those guys like, I got to sit here for the rest of my life, no matter what. I'm hoping that they're going to come back. This isn't like a pride thing. And then once, the Bills got the ball, and then they go down the field, and then the 4th and 2, they get the touchdown, and then when the fumble happened, that's when I was like, "Hey, we can do this." And like, then they got electric in there, and I'm definitely kind of talking shit a little bit, where I'm like, these people who left, like, screw them, they're gonna miss the greatest comeback. And again, I was in the moment, like,
sure, yeah,
at that
long
moment,
days, some beers, a couple shots,
exactly. And then here's the funny thing: I said to myself, okay, if we somehow bring this game back, I'm going to get, and I'm probably a little bit drunk at this point, I'm going to go, my wife's nodding as always, I'm going to go to the I'm going to go to the team store and I'm going to get Andy a jersey. I'm going to get my wife a hat and I'm going to get myself a hat. And I'm like, I don't care how much it is. And at that time I'm like, they're not coming back, but whatever. I'll just say that and put it in the world. And then, they next thing you know, they score and then they kick the field goal at the end. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go buy this go buy my son a jersey. And go buy 2 hats.
I don't know if you bought it in that moment, but I did see on Instagram you kind of tossed.
I bought it after. I went to the team store afterwards.
After the game.
After the game, I went there
11:30 at night, 12 o'clock.
Kind of buzzed. I got my wife a bedazzled pink Bills hat. I got myself the newer Bills hat. It's like the cancer hat, whatever. It's like got like the sparkle, not sparkles. It's like I forgot what it is. It's the newer hat that you can see. And then I got him a T4 jersey. He's a big dude, and I got him it was expensive. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that price, I was like,
oh, shit.
You sons of bitches! Like you had to really come back. Like you didn't come back. I would have maybe just got a T-shirt for that kid. But it was so electric, and like I loved it. I'll never. It's to the point to where I thank my wife obviously for it because it was like the best gift I ever got. Because like I've been to like 20. 30 games, maybe 20 games. I don't know.
Weren't they winless in your last whatever?
Yeah, they were winless, and that was the other thing too. Like if they had lost this game, she would not have allowed me to go to games anymore, and then like that would have been horrible. So I was like, great, we're gonna be 0-5. But I've been to some cool games. Like I went to the Dolphins game in '90, the playoff game in the Snow Bowl. Like I went there as a 10-year-old, and then I went to the Bills Titans opener in 2000, and that was a great game. This one just smoked it. Like, just smoked it. Sure. And like, it's to the point to where, like, I don't even need to go back. Because I'm like, there is no way that they can do this. This was, like, perfect. It's like, it was like a wedding in a way. Where it's like, I don't need to do this again. I'm done. Like, I mean, I do have, like, some wishes of going to Bills games. Maybe go to, like, if there's an AFC championship game, I'll figure something out in Buffalo. But, like, that game was amazing, and the end was amazing, and then they played. I know it doesn't make any sense why Mr. Brightside is somehow the freaking song there, and it's about banging your friend's girl or whatever the hell it's called. But I was definitely in my moment singing that song drunk because when they played it finally at the end, and we were all singing it, and it was incredible, and like I was smitten by the entire day. Like I was like, this is amazing, and it was the best gift I could I got outside of my son and my wife. A couple other things.
All the things that you got. Yeah,
but like it was. I loved it, and I couldn't have asked for a better game to go to, and it was amazing.
Jokes aside, I mean, or playfulness aside, that was this is the last season of Highmark Stadium. And you did end up being at one of a handful of the greatest games ever in the history of that stadium, because this absolutely was. Tell you, I learned something. I had no idea that Bills store would be open that late after a Bills game, but then I realized, hey, it makes sense. Drunks like you were going to come in there and on the high of a big win and spend some money on shit. So
at halftime. So like. I went to the bathroom at halftime and I was like, all right, I got to go to the bathroom. And I was like, let me go see if I can find like a pop-up or whatever. And the pop-up did not have any kids. Cause I was at that point going, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll get him a jersey. Cause it was still kind of close. I'm like, let me get him a jersey. And then that fourth quarter, then the third quarter was annoying. And I was like, he ain't getting shit. Like, cause I couldn't find it in any of the pop-ups. They were like,
hell with that kid, man. This team stinks.
The team store was going to have, and that's what they told me. But, and I'm fun to go with at games. Like, I know you probably think I'm a curmudgeon, on here, and I am. But like at games, I'm like a maniac. I talk a lot of smack too about the other teams, like more of a comical way. Like I kept saying the Wire sucks because it's Baltimore. I was like, the Wire sucks, while drunkenly saying that because it's in, whatever. But like I said, I want people who are cool, not people I can't stand, like to have that day one day of going to a Bills game with the tailgate and that game. Like I was smitten. Like I was levitating.
Let me let's do this. I'll take a quick break, but I do want to say first, I don't remember during the broadcast, and if you're watching this live, or if you're not watching it live, you still want to leave a comment or send a tweet if you're listening to it. I don't recall NBC really talking about fans filing out of the stadium. I don't remember them doing that. Maybe they did. I don't remember. I'll tell you this, watching it on television, you wouldn't have known because it was still loud as hell in that stadium from the TV side presentation. Anyway, video side, we're going to take literally like a 5-second break, come back, and we'll start to actually get into Josh Allen and the stuff that I had prepared for the show. So we will literally be right back. All right, back here with Joe from Queens. Before we get into the game, I want to let you guys know that if you're around the area on Thursday, 6 p.m., I'm actually going to be on Sal Capaccio's show, Sal's house. I'm going to be his guest. We're going to be at Herbal IQ, free pizza. Sports City Pizza Pub's going to be there, hand out some free pizza. We'll talk Bills, some other stuff. I've never been there before, 6300 Transit Road. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Are you going to smoke weed? Is Herbal IQ, it's a weed store, right?
It is a weed store. Do you
so
want
what, is Sal going to smoke? Sal going to smoke too? That would be hilarious.
I can tell you right now, Sal Capaccio is not going to be smoking weed. I can tell you that with certainty. Listen, I can front if you want me to, but I can't front. I'm not a weed guy, man. I'm not anti-weed. I've smoked before. I might end up, since I'm going to be there, I might end up smoking again. I don't know. I've never been there before. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that. 6300 Transit Road, Sal's house, Thursday, 6 p.m. Go to the Sal Sports YouTube channel or his Twitter. I'm sure he's going to retweet it 1,000 times every day. So I'm sure it will be out there. You can watch it live on Sal Capaccio's Twitter as well. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. All right. The title of this. I don't want this to be a clickbait title kind of episode. So let's actually talk about this a little bit here in the back half. The title says simply, dude, Josh Allen's the best player in football right now. He is. That fourth quarter, and again, without getting necessarily into all the game stuff, but dude, he threw for 261 yards, 3 total touchdowns in the fourth quarter alone. Per the Bills, this stat blows my mind. Per the Bills, Josh Allen became the first player in NFL history to have at least 250 passing yards and at least 2 rushing touchdowns in a single quarter of any game. His 251 passing yards in the fourth quarter was the most by a quarterback in a victory since 1996. So you're talking almost 30 years now, folks. It was also his third career game with at least 250 passing yards and at least 2 passing touchdowns and at least 2 rushing touchdowns, which is now the most in league history. Josh is just starting to do some like unprecedented stuff now at this point. Obviously, he's the reigning MVP, so you could already have made the case that he's the best player in the NFL because he's the reigning MVP. But you know how those debates go. I don't think there was any debating with respect to Derrick Henry, who's generational. I hate using that word, but he is. With respect to Lamar Jackson, who is absolutely, positively generational. Josh Allen was the best player on that football field on Sunday night with a whole bunch of stars out there. And he absolutely had to be, because anything less in the second half, especially the fourth quarter, than elite, top of his game, Josh Allen, and there is no way in hell we are talking about a Bills victory right now. A couple of those throws he made, the way he got out of trouble, just the confidence that his team has in him, Joe, the belief that they have in him. Now you keep hearing, well, we got number 17. We're never out of this. That normally would be bullshit coach speak. I believe it when it comes to this team, though, man. I think he's the best player in football right now. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do. I
don't think we're homers either. The last thing, people will say a lot of shit about you, but calling you a homer is not one of them. So
he was the MVP last year. He won that game for the Bills. And when you think about Josh Allen, he's just evolved so much into very methodical. He's like the cerebral assassin, where he's he's not throwing like 50-yard bombs down the field. You know, he's throwing like passes in the seam or, hot read stuff, using the whole field, using all of the plays. And yes, I would prefer the Bills to throw it down the field a little bit more than they did in the, I never want to see that stupid bubble screen as long as I live.
Back-to-back bubble screens at one point.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Okay, the season ended because you did one to Amari Cooper last year, basically. But I digress. But yeah, he's the man. And I'll see this, and I was thinking about this a little bit. I know, like, before the season, you got some shit on Twitter because someone had said Josh Reed was like the best player in franchise history, and you kind of like said like, what about Bruce Smith? And I remember you kind of went back and forth a little bit. I think it was Aaron Quinn said that.
It was Aaron Quinn.
Yeah. And I totally got what you were implying. Like, it's a Hall of Fame career, blah blah blah. He's got 200 sacks. I'll say this in to stick up for Josh a little bit. I know you love him, we all do, but like, I can't think of a time during the Bills 90s where Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, where you sat there and went, that's the best player in football right now. Like, Bruce Smith always, you had Reggie White, you had Lawrence Taylor, you had Deion Sanders, Jim Kelly had Marino, you had Montana, and like Elway, and like I just Thurman was Barry and Emmitt Smith. Like, I always felt like, oh yeah, they're top 4 players. There was never that moment that you would just sit there and go, you know what? Hands down, that's the best player, and I'm starting a franchise. I'm picking that guy, and that's what Josh Allen is right now. He's like, at his height, he might be better than all those guys. Like, not in the prolonged like the career, but at his height, he might be better than all those guys right now. I mean, OJ is the only guy I can think of because I don't remember OJ, but like OJ was an MVP, and it was a completely different era where you had
Thurman won an MVP too. Ralph Wilson Sr. pointed that out, but yeah,
you're right. He did win an MVP, but at that point, you could make that debate.
Barry Sanders,
but also the problem is Thurman had Jim Kelly next to him. Josh Allen doesn't have like close to anyone equivalent to that next to him at all. So it's that's where I'm at too, with like a little bit like he's now in the conversation. Entering this season, I had him in the top 3 all time. It was like OJ, Bruce, and him, kind of like switch Bruce and OJ.
He's on the Mount Rushmore already. I think reasonable people can conclude that.
Yeah, but you just at this point, he's just unreal. Like, he's a highlight reel. And he's doing it with, a lot of, Keon Coleman was great. I'll give Keon Coleman a lot of credit. He was really good in that game. Like, maybe you were on something with the training camp bullshit. We'll see, obviously. But
I give you, by the way, when something that happens in the camp that you dismiss all summer long and then it starts to happen in the regular season, like when Keon Coleman made a couple catches, I swear to God, I'm instantly thought of you. I'm like, I cannot wait to talk some fucking shit. Well, it's Joe from Queens.
Well, Matt Milano wasn't very good. He was great in camp.
Not. That's fair. Like, I thought about him too. I'm like, what? Goddamn, Tyrell Shavers didn't have a target too in the game. So I'm like, I get it. Listen, I honestly think this. I do think he's the best player, and I think the debate is going. And especially if you're not a Bills fan, if you're not embedded in this team and you're from the outside and you're going to disagree, at this point, there's only one thing left that you can go against Josh Allen, and that's the championship, not being in the Super Bowl. They got to get to a Super Bowl. If the Bills get to a Super Bowl, nobody reasonable is going to be able to even say that he's not the best, or at least the best 2 or 3 players in the league, even if you want to hate on him. There's 3 plays in this game, and I'll be quick about it because I don't want to spend too much time, again, talking about this game. But there are 3 plays specifically where I'm like, oh, my God. Josh Allen is just so incredible. One of them, the last play right before the first half, to have the wherewithal, knowing that there was 7 seconds left when they had the ball around midfield, Dalton Kincaid runs a crossing route, and Josh hits him perfectly in stride. Kincaid, a little bit of luck involved because there's like a half a second left when he gets tackled. A little bit of luck. But he knew he had to get rid of that ball and throw him when he did. And it was a perfect pass to Dalton Kincaid, who was in man-to-man a battle with Marlon Humphrey, too. So it's not like he was up there by himself. There was a guy one-on-one. It was a perfect throw. That's one. The James Cook 51-yard catch and run.
No.
That was nothing but a dump-off pass. But pre-snap, you could see it. He moved James Cook around twice, knew where that blitz was coming from, moved him right before the snap to the left side, had him sneak out to the right-hand side, read the play, dumped it off to him, and then James Cook did what a good running back's supposed to do. He made somebody miss, and he made it into a 51-yard play. That was a Josh Allen pre-snap recognition thing. That's the mental, cerebral asset of his game that I don't think he used to have in the past. And then on that last drive, Keon Coleman was kind of open in the middle, but that throw to Josh Palmer on the left side, I mean, that throw was perfection with Jair Alexander, who had pretty decent coverage. Just the calm, the poise, the physical things that he's doing out there, the mental things that he's doing out there right now. I truly do not think that there is a better player right now in the NFL. Let me ask you a quick question. Kind of transition from this. A buddy of mine, shout out to my cousin, asked me this today. I thought about this. I want to make sure, and this is for everybody in the chat who's watching or who's listening to the show as well. If Josh Allen retires, if you have this career and he retires, but you don't know right now if the Bills are ever going to win a Super Bowl, okay? But what you're seeing right now from Josh Allen, the fun that you have every week, the joy that you get from watching him play football, when he retires, would you go through another 17-year drought and then get a carbon copy of Josh Allen after 17 years? Maybe for you and I, that might be an unfair question because we ain't young. I mean, you still be all right. I will literally be.
No, I'll be in my 70s, dude. I'll be, or no, 60s. I'm good. 40,
yeah, so you'd be in your 60s. I would literally be collecting Social Security checks at that point. But this is maybe it's geared towards people like a little bit younger. Maybe not. I don't know. Whatever way you want to phrase it. But to keep Josh Allen right now, who may or may not win a Super Bowl, that's the one thing we don't know. But when his career is over, you have to go through another 17-year drought. But at the end of that 17-year drought, you're coming out with Josh Allen, who you're going to get for 12 to 15
Does he
years
win a Super Bowl or no?
Don't know. Don't know. You don't know.
I don't want to go through 17 years. No, I'm good.
That's fair. That's what I concluded too. I thought it was a good question.
I'm good. I'm good. I mean, look, no. If you tell me he's going to win a Super Bowl, then yes, I would consider it. Because I told you this before. I just want a Super Bowl, and then I'm done. I'm never going to be on this podcast again. I'm going to delete my Twitter. Sorry to all of my fans out there. I'm done. It's like finding, it's like, I'm telling you, it's like getting married and you're done. And it's like, I'm done. I'm deleting all the apps. I'm done. They won. Enjoy life. And I'm out. And by the way, Pat, I might have to get another beer. So you might have to like go to full screen if you want me on.
Give me a warning before you do.
Well, I'm about to now. So yes.
All right, I'm gonna pull up this comment, and then I'll bring it up, and then I'll bring it to you. Like, go ahead, go grab your beer, man, because this is a good comment in the chat. Steve Noble said, "To me, Josh Allen appears to have acquired that Tom Brady clutch gene. He has evolved into something very special." Look, I agree with that at this point. It's being a special talent is one thing. There's lots of players, I think, around the league, not just a quarterback, but at positions all over that are special talents. Having that clutch gene is not something that I always thought Josh Allen had, but I would present it to you like this. When it comes to Josh Allen and the clutch gene, could he have played better in certain situations? Absolutely. Now, look. If you go and look at all the Super Bowls the Patriots won through the years, they didn't win all those Super Bowls, all those playoff games because Tom Brady was throwing for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. They won a lot of games because of defense, because they were able to run the football as the Bears cracking to a point. But I'll say this about Josh Allen, too. That Cincinnati Bengals game in 2022 when they lost at home, he sucked. He was terrible that football game, right? He was garbage. And so was 99% of that roster. But Josh Allen's held to a different standard, as he should be. He's the quarterback and your franchise player. I'm going to give you that. If you're anti-Josh Allen, I will give you that game. He was hot garbage against the Bengals. Other than that, these big games, whether it was a huge regular season game, and there's been plenty of those, the Kansas City games at home. This game, just this past week, the Detroit matchup, a marquee matchup, plenty of those throughout the years. Those games in the regular season or the playoff games, tell me a playoff game where Josh Allen was bad, where you could say, you know what, Josh Allen was a big part of the problem. We didn't win this football game. We got eliminated because Josh Allen didn't even play close to what he's capable of playing. Josh Allen statistically is quite literally one of the greatest quarterbacks ever in the history of football right now in the playoffs statistically. He's been just as good in the big moments as he has against, say, the Arizona Cardinals or the New York Giants or whoever. It feels like the bigger the stage, the more Josh Allen has stepped up. So I like that, and I do think he's got a clutch gene. What?
I do believe he has a clutch gene. I do also believe his last 2 seasons for playoffs have been okay. I don't think they've been on the par of like 13 seconds or the perfect game. I mean, you can't tell me that's the case. Like, he's been fine, good, but he hasn't been like Jesus, in terms of.
Sure.
Okay, like, come on, he had like 150 yards passing against the Ravens in the playoff game.
Okay,
let's go ahead.
You're not wrong. Okay, he's been far from perfect, but like I just said with Tom Brady didn't do it by himself either. What about their last two playoff losses, Joe? And look, these aren't the only reason why the Bills lose the game. Even if these two plays are made, maybe they still lose the game anyway. But what happened when 2 years ago when they lost at home to the Chiefs in the playoffs? Who dropped the bomb right in his hands? It was Stephon Diggs. This past year, fourth down, you got to have it, or the game's over. The ball hits who? Right in the hands. Dalton Kincaid. He drops it. So it's not like Josh Allen is throwing ugly interceptions, to end these games. Tyler Bass misses a kick. There's lots of factors. You're right. He has not been perfect. He has not been football Jesus in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But statistically, he has been better than pretty much about everyone else. Now, if we were debating a Lamar Jackson thing, I feel like we'd be able to use the playoffs against Lamar Jackson, who's a fantastic special football player. I love Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
But that's part of what makes me think Josh Allen's the best player in football right now. Now, Patrick Mahomes is the one that you could give the pushback on, but I still say it's the coaching,
Burrow.
the
I think
defense,
it
the system.
Burrow's another guy. Like, I think that's the top three. I love Joe Burrow. I think he's great. But obviously, you have to put in consideration, like, who's he playing with. Like, can you imagine if Josh Allen had T. Higgins and Jamar Chase? We'd be like living. They'd be like if you had like a combination of those players, you win every fantasy league. You know what I mean?
He had T. Higgins for one night anyway because Keon Coleman looked like T. Higgins.
He did look great. Look,
that's a comparison. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this. I mean, I know you're talking about like the Ravens game, and I know. Look, I didn't listen to your podcast because I never will unless I'm on it. I did actually listen to you and the Bro Beat last week with Skursky and Perino, and that was solid work, mostly by you.
Man.
No, they did okay. They were fine. I'm just kind of messing. Kind of. After that game Sunday, did you feel better about the Bills' chances, or worse after that game? Because
150% better.
Really? Why?
Because they played bad. They got beat up. They got outgunned. They were outmanned for 45, 50 minutes, and they still won against an elite football team. Sure. I said it, but I picked the Ravens to win, by the way, 31-23 before the game. So I had the Ravens win by 8. And I also said that I think,
too.
Yeah, and I also said that I think on paper the Ravens have the best roster in the NFL. I still believe the Ravens have the best roster in the NFL right now as well. But this is not that new to the Ravens. They find ways to lose some of these kind of games.
But this isn't about
lose.
But this isn't about the Ravens. This is about the Bills. Like,
right.
I get what you're saying, but I'm saying, like, because you look at that game.
Yeah,
we all knew Josh is Jesus over here. Sorry to keep bringing the big man upstairs, or actually that's God, but whatever. We all know he's great.
Yeah,
but you invested how much money in this defense? And how did they do in this game? They were horrible. I mean, look, Al Oliver was God. Like, he was great, obviously. But I'm just saying, I can understand if you go, and look, when I see worse, I'm not saying like, oh my God, they're going to be 10-7 and they're not going to make the playoffs. No, I'm talking like, I don't want to play the Ravens again. I don't. Even though they do hand this, they do this, you're right. But man, like, I still can't believe they won that game. And I'm like, when are they going to get it right? Because that team was really good, and they're a crazy matchup against the Bills. Like, it feels like the Ravens are a team versus Josh Allen. You know what I mean? And like how bad that defense was. And again, this is like, look, they'll probably beat the Jets, whatever. But I felt a little bit like I would have thought that, dude, they gave up 40 points. That's not like you put all these points on the board. It's a little bit like. We have Josh, and that's like, and Keon Coleman, I felt good about. I think it's a very, and I'm just using this in like an instant like reaction. Like, do you feel better? Do you feel worse? Or do you feel the same? And I'm between like worse and the same because it's just like Josh Allen's great. He's God. But man, that defense was just a disaster for all that game, you know?
Well, that's why I feel better. And I understand like you're kind of like stuck in between. I see a couple people in the live chat that are saying they feel worse. I feel better because the defense did suck ass. They gave up 40 points and they still won the football game.
But you can't do that every week, though, Pat.
Of course you can't.
I'm just saying, like, they can't do that. Like, I've always said this. This isn't the Premier League where it's all about, like, playing random teams and you win, like having the best record in the league. You were going to go against good offenses in the playoffs. So
I know that. And the Ravens are not the Ravens aren't a good matchup for anybody. I get that. Do I want to play the Ravens? No, I don't want to play the Ravens. Of course I don't want to play the Ravens. That said, this is twice in a row now. Maybe somebody in the comments said, they're in their heads a little bit. I believe that. Some validity to it, man. The Bills know how to beat the Ravens. At the end of the day, they did it last year in the playoffs because for the turnovers. This year was just Josh.
They did kick their asses in the regular season too.
Who cares?
What do you mean, who cares? You're just saying that they're like, I don't know how you can feel better. I'm sorry.
I don't care that the Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season either, so I'm being balanced there. Who gives a shit that the Bills beat Kansas City in November? Who cares?
Okay, but I'm nothing. Okay, fine. I just feel like either the same or a little bit worse. I really do, because that defense...
Okay, well, I don't agree with you. I mean, it's okay.
Well, great. Well, I'm just saying, like, the defense gave up 40 points. I mean, I know the Ravens are great, but you shouldn't be giving up 40 points.
I completely agree with you, okay? And there's some things about the defense that were not good, or that concern me, which I'll get to, by the way, in a second, but I'll say this, too. I don't think the defense could play any worse. I don't think that if they played the Ravens or the Chiefs or whoever, I don't think I would be stunned if you see the Bills defense play a worse game than you did this year. Those safeties were clueless. The rookie defensive tackles were over their heads in this first game. Bobby Babbich's usage, he subbed out entire groups instead of taking one guy out at a time. That didn't work. Matt Milano's first game, Terrell Bernard did not play well. Fuck Milano's first game. He's a veteran. He didn't play good. Terrell Bernard played like shit. Taylor Rapp was trash. He was terrible in this game. Trey White didn't even play. It was a rookie starting at corner. There's lots of factors. Christian Benford got beat a few times. I think the defense is going to be better.
They're going to be better against who, though? They're going to be better against the Saints? Saints? But if they go against the Bengals and the Eagles, I think there's anybody. But I'll give him a little bit of rope because Hoyt is supposed to come back, and then the guy
Larry
from the
Ogunjobi,
Ogunjobi. That's when we can like maybe see what they're like. But like concerning what I mean, and look, and they did have injuries, so I should be like a little bit like they were starting a 6th-round rookie, and at cornerback. So there are moments where I'm just saying like Ed Oliver looked great. Like that was like I thought his best game I've seen in God knows how long. Like, he was a stud, but I feel kind of the same, but I would like to see the defense not give up
of course,
10 giant big plays, like, but that's my opinion. So,
all right, now you're not wrong, okay? And I'm not going to throw the first 3 quarters in the garbage, nor should you. I mean, Baltimore was absolutely destroying his defense, who did not play well, okay? Mm-hmm. That's it. I mean, the defensive tackles, again, 2 rookie defensive tackles. If I'm going to make, and there's no excuse for the defense, but if I was going to make one, it would be they did have 2 rookie defensive tackles out there who every time I looked it up, and I'm not going to get into it. If follow me on Twitter, folks, go at Patrick Moran TV. I got a bunch of tweets with charts and diagrams every time TJ Sanders, if you want, I could bore you to death and fucking read them all right now, but it'll take 20 minutes. TJ Sanders and Deion Walker, every time those guys came in the game, something bad happened.
Let me just say,
it's there. It's on this. It's right there to see. What?
I think, this is a little bit off topic, but your branding as of right now, like, you did all 22 last year. You brought in going to training camp a lot. I think you need to bring up, because I saw you tweet that said like you had something like the rookies when TJ Sanders was in the game, and correct me if I'm wrong, my apologies. He gave up like 5 plays for 20 yards.
16 plays. He was out there for 16 plays, and they scored all 5 of their touchdowns when he was out there.
This should be like your version of Corsi. Like when a guy, because look, they love that defensive line rotation of doom. You should do a stat of like, okay, when this guy's on the field, this is how much yards they give up. And it doesn't mean it's his fault, obviously, which you did articulate well. I mean, you're growing up. I'm really proud of you, buddy, with your evolving. But like, no one has done that really with like doing their own little Corsi or something like that. So, well, with that being said, like I that's what I was saying. But good job for you.
Let me get to this. So, all right. So, like I said, TJ Sanders was on the field for 16 snaps. Deion Walker was on the field for 13 snaps. It's on my Twitter. Again, without going through it, things just got ugly. And I'm not saying it was all their fault either. A combination. Again, Terrell Bernard was not good. Milano was not good. Rapp was not good. We keep going on and on and on. Yeah. But anyway, my whole point was this. As bad as that defense was, win. And I'm not absolving them for being so bad, but when they absolutely positively needed to have it, or that's a wrap, the game's over. The last 3 drives for Baltimore, 3 and out. A forced fumble on Derrick Henry. And this wasn't like last year where fucking Damar Hamlin tackled Lamar by his ankle and he dropped the ball. This was Ed Oliver making a man's man play, hitting Henry, forcing a legit fumble that the Bills recovered. So you had a 3 and out, you had a forced fumble, and then where if Baltimore gets a first down, the game's over. Bam, 3 and out again. And by the Baltimore punt, I'm telling you, I put it on film too. I didn't know until I watched it. Ed Oliver absolutely shellacked Lamar Jackson when he threw that ball to DeAndre Hopkins on 3rd down. I did not know until I saw it. Yeah, he got cramps my ass. He got rocked.
Toasted.
Would have sucked, but there could have been a penalty on that just because it was such a hard hit and it was after he threw the football. Thank God the officials just let it go and just let them play. But I'm telling you right now, that may have been, I've heard Ravens fans tweet about this. They said that was probably the hardest hit they've ever seen Lamar Jackson get rocked. Ed Oliver, who you said was a stud, he really was. The Bills don't just, forget about winning the game. The Bills aren't in this game if it's not for Ed Oliver. He had a sack on the first drive that might have saved 4 points.
You should apologize to him. Apologize to Ed Oliver. You got to apologize.
I did last year. I did
well,
last
no, you got to
year.
say it now. You got to say it again. You should apologize all the time.
He was great against the Chiefs.
Ed, I'm sorry. I love horses.
Ed, I am really sorry. I love your horses. I love the dance that you do on the sidelines. You are a great football player. I apologized last year, by the way, because he was great against the Chiefs when 3/4 of that defense didn't show up. Look, the Bills got a defensive problem. I'm not trying to skirt around that. You also have the best player in the world right now on the other side of the field. Your job is to get a couple stops, get a turnover, and at the end of the day, whether you got to win 25-24 or 41-40, you got the quarterback to do it. Anyway, defense sucked. They did suck except for Ed, but they stepped up and they made Christian Benford made a great tackle on that 3rd down to hold him to within 3 yards. And then they ended up punting. So we talked about, like I said, the non-Josh stuff. Keon Coleman, very promising first game. He looked the part out there. Ed Oliver was great. The last thing I want to mention about, like, on a positive thing besides Josh, and this doesn't get talked about enough because it wasn't spectacular numbers, the Bills tight ends were great. Collectively, 7 targets, 7 catches for 97 yards and a touchdown with the tight ends. You'll sign up for that. 17 games.
Who was the 3rd tight end? I was like, who the hell is this guy? Because you know,
Jackson Hawes, the rookie. You don't pay attention to mini camp, to training camp, to the preseason.
When was he drafted? Like in the 10th round? 5th round, okay. Like, so Dawson Knox is heir apparent. Hopefully he'll be Josh's best friend, like Dawson is. But yeah, like he caught that pass. I'm like, who the hell is this guy?
He wanted to drop it. It's like he almost dropped it like 3 different times in the same sequence.
It was just it's. They had like the one formation. They had like 3 tight ends on the field, I think, on that one touchdown, which was kind of crazy. I haven't seen that
Knox
before.
Played the most. Knox played 56% of the snaps. Kincaid 51. And I think Hawes played 19. Now, what you might have noticed if you were paying attention and not tailgating at 9 a.m. for 12 hours before the game.
Oh, you wish you were me that day, buddy.
What the Bills seem to be getting away from, and maybe it was because the game dictated it. We'll maybe see more against the Jets. But you know how the last couple of years they've run a lot of packages with that 6 offensive linemen. Last year was Alec Anderson. 2 years ago was David Edwards, is that 6, jumbo package guy. Jackson Hawes is such a good blocker that he's that 6 offensive lineman right now. And obviously he could catch. And so the Bills' offense is more unpredictable with him out there. So I think you're going to see more of that and less jumbo 6 offensive line packages.
Yeah, if you want to bring up a comment, Ariel Grande mentioned about Benford, and I kind of thought that as well. I thought Benford got beat a little bit, a lot more than I would have anticipated because it's he just
anyway, all right,
but he mentioned he had mentioned was or did Benford get beat a lot? I thought he got beat like a little bit more than he normally. Like, look, he had that great tackle at the end to make it 4th and 3, but like I thought he got beat more. It felt coming into the season like no one's going to throw at him. He's going to be like Deion Sanders and they threw at him, and I thought he, I'm not saying, like, look, there's a lot of things that go into it, pass rush, scheme, whatever, but they definitely went to him a lot, I felt. So I don't know I know you watched the film, and I'm going to pretend I care.
It wasn't his best game. Yeah, it wasn't his best game. I'll also say this. He's missed practice recently. He had a groin issue. Look, sometimes you just, sometimes you may have bad coverage, and sometimes you just got to tip the old ball cap. And Lamar Jackson made a great throw, and DeAndre Hopkins made that one-handed catch. You're going to see that 1 out of 200 times, maybe a player come down with that ball. The coverage was right there.
Okay.
What concerned me about Christian or about Benford that he needs to stop doing is the first drive of the game, the first tackle of the game. He went really low and almost got his head snapped back. It looked like he might have gotten hurt already. I was like, Jesus, man. But he turned out to be all right. Yeah. Put it this way. I agree with the comment. It was not his best game. He was he's the least of my concerns with that team. I'll say this, watching the film, we've talked about it a couple times this week already.
The film.
The safeties were terrible. That's a problem. And here's my concern about the safeties, Joe. It's not this one game per se specifically. It's the fact that I think Sean McDermott is married to who he's married to. Like, Taylor Rapp was bad. Cole Bishop was bad. Taylor Rapp was worse. In fact, Taylor Rapp was significantly worse in this game than Cole Bishop. Bishop got embarrassed, as Chris Collinsworth said. He wasn't wrong, but that one touchdown where Henry just slammed his head to the turf, stiff-armed him to hell. But Taylor Rapp was out of position. He missed tackles. He looked slow, like he had cement in his feet. But here's the thing. Sean is not going to bench Taylor Rapp. If you want Taylor Rapp out there, inevitably he usually gets hurt or he'll hurt somebody else, one or the other. That's the only way. He's not going anywhere. They do not want to give up on Cole Bishop early, second-round guy, year 2. That's a bad look for Brandon Beane. If that guy becomes a bust and you bench him, you're pretty much you're giving up on. You pull the plug on him now, he's pretty much done. DeMar Hamlin, you know who he is, but he's not getting cut. That's what I'm saying. Like, everyone's on to go sign Jabril Peppers. Simmons, who, by the way, for Denver is still out there. You know what? Maybe there's a reason why he's still out there at this point. A lot of times, and me included, we fall in love with the thought of players. Jordan Poyer back on the practice squad. Hey. You're in love with the thought of Jordan Poyer. I don't think the Jordan Poyer, the football player anymore, is going to help this team. Anyway, they got a collection of slow safeties. Jordan Hancock's the one. He's a good athlete. I would love to see him out there, but Sean ain't playing his ass. Anyway, safety. So you
still feel better than you did before the game, though. You just went through how the defense is a disaster, but you still feel better.
I said the safeties are a disaster.
The safeties are a disaster, but you still feel better.
I think
still feel better.
Mm-hmm. I do still feel better. I don't feel better about the safeties, though. I feel better. I think the defensive line will be better. I think Bernard and Milano will be better. I just think it was a bad game for them.
By the way, I have a very good buzz right now on Pils Country, so I'm very excited about having a Pilsner. It could be because I'm tired. I got up early. Sorry, but I'm very.
One other guy I did want to talk about. There is one other guy that I am concerned about. So I guess maybe as I'm thinking about it, your question, I do still feel better because the Bills found a way to win a game that it felt like they had no business winning. That alone makes me feel better than before. But what I will say, there is one other player that I paid close attention to that was really, really bad, and that was DaQuan Jones. And I don't know what they do about him. He was not good. He was not a factor last year. He was not a factor in this game. He was getting stood up. He was getting moved around. He had one nice run stop. Aside from that, maybe you got me saying film bros now, man. Maybe the film bros.
That's what you should call your Tuesday show the film bro with Pat. My guy with Pat. The film, anyways. But yes, go ahead. He was bad.
Let me ask you a question here. So going forward, Dorian Strong, I thought he was all right. He held his own. He didn't really get tested. And people are like, well, why did you go after Dorian Strong? Well, because freaking you didn't have to. Derrick Henry's averaging 17 yards, 140 yards a carry, whatever it may be. It felt that way. They were running the ball so much. Their scoring drives were 4 plays, 5 plays, whatever it may be. They were just getting chunk yardage every play. Anyway, he got beat once. He got fooled on play action. Aside from that, he held himself fine. He had a nice touchdown saving tackle too. Anyway, Trey White, who has not practiced since August 21st, did practice here on Wednesday. They called it limited, but the Bills beat had a lot of videos out there. He looked fast. He looked perfectly fine.
Sure.
If he's healthy and if he's good to go and you're Sean McDermott, do you go back to Trey White this week or do you stick with the rookie Dorian Strong?
I think you go back to Trey White and just see what he has. Because, look, I know he hasn't played much in the preseason, and I know there's been kind of like mixed feelings about – and I'm going to pretend I give a shit about camp for this podcast. It was mixed feelings. Like he started off good in camp and then he kind of tailed off a little bit. But I think you have to see what you have, with Trey White. That's why you signed him. And then he's, we'll see what he does. You got to go with him. I think you got to go with the veteran a little bit. They're already thin back there, and I think you probably would rather have a veteran back there. But again, after the game, if he gets destroyed and obliterated, then I definitely would look into, go back, get demoted a little bit, if that makes sense.
Sure.
How do you feel? Do you want Trey or you want the rookie?
Well, it's a good question. I don't know.
So you asked me the question and you're not going to answer the question? What the hell?
Well, I asked you the question for a reason.
Okay.
Well, let me say this. I don't think it's a question of Sean McDermott. He didn't say it, but I certainly got the sense, I tweeted this out, that if Trey White's got a bill of health that's good to go, I think Trey White goes right back into the starting lineup. Okay. I would now, if you ask me what I would prefer, I would prefer, you know what, I would prefer Trey White for this week. Let's see what he looks like.
I think you're a bit.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say, I think you're a bit of a cougar. Like you really like the young guys, and you want them to play a lot more the rookies. And you obsessed about all these guys, like who the tight end guy is, Hawk or whatever the hell his name is. You're obsessed about the younger guys. You want those younger guys over the defense of the older guys. You're a cougar. You're Pat the Cougar. Go ahead, Pat the Cougar.
What I want is Max Harrison to start after the bye. He's your first round pick. He can't practice till after the 4th week, and then the Bills got a game. Then they're on a bye, so I would say that would be the time. I think it's kind of irrelevant because I'm pretty confident that Trey White will be back out there. And look, you can make a point for that, but I'm a little concerned because that Giants game still bothers me. That preseason game a little bit. I don't like the way he looked, man. But
we'll see. I mean, look, if Strong was like a 3rd rounder, I would say sure, but I look at where he was drafted and I'm a little bit like hesitant to be like, let's see what he does. And I know, look, Christian Benford was a rookie. He started, was pretty good, obviously, as a rookie. It could happen, but I think they want Trey, in that spot.
Last 10 minutes of the show because A, it's getting late, and B, Joe's getting drunk again.
Buzz. I'm not drunk.
Buzz, not drunk.
Don't pull my wife and say that I'm drunk. I don't like that shit. I have a nice buzz. I'm going to go to bed happy. And, that's it. So go ahead.
All right. So the Bills 1-0. They travel to your neck of the woods this weekend, the New York Football Jets. Again, obviously you didn't watch the game, but I thought the Jets looked, without deep diving. And by the way, tomorrow's show will be a Bills Jets preview, so we will get into the meat and potatoes of that game tomorrow. But the Jets were very competitive against the Steelers. I like the way they looked. And this is a copycat league, and they got a copycat kind of quarterback with Justin Fields who can run the ball, who can throw the ball. They got a legit true alpha as a number 1 receiver in Garrett Wilson, and Breece Hall had 100 yards rushing last week. Braylon Allen is a good short yardage guy. I think you're going to see a lot more of the same, a lot more read options. Ravens did so well. Now, of course, you don't have Derrick Henry back there, but still, Breece Hall, again, a really good running back.
No bum. Yeah.
This is not the pushover game that I thought maybe in August or July that this would have been.
I agree with that. Part of it is, and I want you to answer this, do you think the emotional high of Sunday's game was epic? Like, do you think there's going to be like an emotional letdown a little bit by them? Because this does feel like if they had lost to Baltimore, this is how weird the NFL is. If they had lost to Baltimore, I'd be like, oh, they're going to beat the Jets. Mm-hmm. But they pulled it out of their ass against them. And now I am worried about that there's going to be that emotional letdown because they left it all on the field. And the Jets have always been like, look, last year wasn't too troublesome with them, but Zach Wilson has beaten, he's not there obviously anymore, but Zach Wilson has beaten Josh Allen twice. When their defense helped out. And there is a part of me that is a little bit worried about that.
Well,
go ahead.
Sure, I just literally cut you off. My bad. Yes, a concern on some levels. I think maybe a little bit less of a concern just because of the leadership of this team. And this is a veteran team. A lot of these guys have been through the peaks and valleys before. The Jets historically in recent years have played the Bills tough, but even though last year they got destroyed in Buffalo and the Bills won to Monday Night Football without James Cook last year and beat the Jets on the road as well. But here's the thing about the Jets, Joe, is I think the last couple of years they've been a talented team that, underperformed. I think they have a lot of talent on that team, and I thought coaching had plenty to do with it. Aaron Glenn is a tough young coach. Sean McDermott talked about it Wednesday during his media session that it reminds him of the Bills. They're kind of building that culture and starting from the ground up, but they're a tough.
Well, they always start from the ground up. They've always fired their coaches all the time. I'll say this: Aaron Glenn, head coach, he was a defensive coordinator for the Lions last year, and if you remember, Josh Allen lit them up in Detroit in that game. I forgot how many points he scored, but it was at least 40. It's something to kind of consider. Obviously, I know the players are different.
John Sanders says, Joe, McDermott-led teams rarely have letdown games. The Jaguars game was the only one that I can remember.
Well, I guess for John, my point is mostly them having such an amazing game where it's you're emotionally spent, and then the next week it's kind of a football cliche a little bit when you have that emotional win, and then the next week you're just tired. They haven't. It's funny because I've heard this a couple different times this week. The Bills always have that game of the year game, and they end up always losing it. With the 13 seconds or the last year's game of the year was that crazy Rams game, and then the year before was the Minnesota game, and they lose that, and they finally won one. That was an epic game, and I'm just curious how they're going to react afterwards. They don't win a crazy game like that, it feels like, and then coming back, and then it was so emotional. Look, it's Wednesday, and I'm still emotionally drained from that game on Sunday, and I'm just some fat douche that's screaming over there. But
I'm trying to think right now. The one thing about this Bills team that has been consistent in recent years is they don't lose to teams that they're supposed to beat. Like the Ravens last year lost to the Raiders at home, and they lost to the Browns. The Bills don't really do that, but I do have one exception. I was thinking as you were talking, I went back. It's not a letdown game because they only played the New York Giants at home the week before, but the Bills went into New England in 2023 and they lost to a really shitty Patriots team.
Right.
And Matt
the
Jones,
next week was the Giants game, right?
No, the week before that was the Giants game.
Okay. But who do they play? Well, I don't know. I mean, the Denver game, the Denver was crappy that year with Russell Wilson. They lost that game.
Sure. They lost to Cincinnati. They lost to Cincinnati too on the road. The week before that they lost 3 out of 4 in a stretch.
It's mostly
which got Dorsey fired.
It's mostly, like I said, the emotional wins. Because look, when was the last Detroit was kind of an emotional win last year because it was back and forth, and they won that, and they won the week after. I'm pretty sure they did. Let me ask you this, and then when it comes to the Jets, just talk show topic. Who has a better roster, the Jets or the Bills? Outside of Josh Allen, obviously. You think, but no, not including Josh Allen. You think really interesting.
What the hell is that noise I'm hearing right now? Oh, I think I had something open up. I opened up a window. I was looking up something and it made a noise. It's the Bills.
Probably.
The Bills.
Okay.
The Jets have more they have better a small handful of better top end players like Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson. But from 2, because you said no Josh Allen, 2 to 53, I think the Bills are definitely better. Their offensive line is way better. I think their defensive line as a whole is better. Their linebackers are definitely better. Skill position players are better as a whole. I definitely think the Bills. Okay. I forgot what I was looking up. I was looking up something from last year. Oh, the Rams game, that one stretch. Yeah, dude, I'm not going to go to last year because they did what they were supposed to do every week. Anyway, yeah, I understand what you're saying, though. The letdown factor is something to be
they don't have
about.
I try to think of an emotional crazy win, and they shouldn't have won. You know what I mean? They haven't had those types of games in a while. And it's cliche. So Yes, Mark.
Sure.
Pat is definitely looking at smut, as he put in the comments. Definitely is looking at
I'm just trying.
Pam Anderson, Playboy from '91 over here. Okay,
I'm trying to think right now. I'm getting distracted. Somebody brought up I just want to kind of circle back real quick. Someone brought a comment up about me defending Terrell Bernard. I'm trying to find this real quick.
Well, here. Yeah. Well, Pat's always
loved
Terrell Bernard.
Mark said, I need to see Pat defend his love with Bernard tonight. Average, undersized, middle linebacker. Come on, man. First of all, hold on. What's my love with Terrell Bernard?
You've always loved him.
I take issue. No, I don't. Christian Benford, I do. I take issue with that. I actually been on the other side a little bit. I kind of was pretty vocal last year that I thought Terrell Bernard was a little bit overrated. I don't say overrated, but I thought he was better 2 years ago than he was last year. And he might have been the second worst player on the team on film this week, by the way, after the what?
No, I'm just going to say, he's not on his all-guy team, like my guy team. That's how I'm going to give you a new nickname. It's going to be my guy, like my guy Rushmore. Like Dorian Williams is on my guy Rushmore. Buffalo Joe's on my guy Rushmore. Your boy Dolak is on my guy Rushmore. Mac Hollins is on my guy Rushmore. Those are my guys.
I do have a lot of my guys, man.
My guy, yeah.
All right, guys. My guys. I think we're going to put a wrap. By the way, we've reached unadvertised again on a Wednesday night.
Yeah, Pat doesn't promote me ever.
Over 1,000 people check it in, man.
Doesn't promote me as always. He promotes me at 8:00 tonight, people. If he had Matt Perino on, he'd have it on Facebook.
Probably.
He would have called the Metro Community News and put a freaking ad in the paper. But me, he's just like, the hell with you, buddy. You get me at 8:15.
They're live.
Thanks, bro.
I will say this. This was the first of, I don't even know if you realize this, but the first of 3 times you'll be on over the next 8 days. And by the way, everyone who's been, because the chat is still active here, well into an hour. So I'll let you people know who are still here for people listening later on. So Joe is with us today. We will be live Sunday night, 9 p.m. To recap the Bills-Jets game. We'll have a reaction show then. You just looked at me like, oh, I am. Yes, you are.
No, you know what? So here's get to your promoting me and then get to Thursday.
Well, Sunday. So this coming Sunday night on the video side, we will be live at 9 p.m. Of course, the podcast will be available Monday morning. And then the following week, Miami is here on Thursday Night Football. So Joe will be on with me late night live right after.
How long after that game normally do we have to get on real quick? How long after do we have to get on Thursday?
We'll get about 10, 15 minutes after the game's over.
10, 15 minutes, I can make that. Okay, so I'm going to my friend's house. It's his birthday. He's about a 10-minute walk here because he's watching his kid. Like his so I have to I'm hoping the game's like a blowout and I can leave there early. But if it ends, I will jet home as fast as I can. But it might be closer to 15 minutes. I know that you're gonna lose sleep because Podfather's gonna be on, and then Cover 5 and. They're all going to come on and you're going to be like, oh, I'm losing my ratings to these people so I can make $4 an hour or whatever.
So tomorrow, like I said, Bills Jets full preview episode. Sunday night on the video side live, 9 p.m. We will have a recap of the Jets game. Joe from Queens will be with me. Shows every day, of course, next week. And then next Thursday, Joe will be on. One last thing. I'm noticing in the live chat on the video side, maybe it's because the Bills won and they beat Baltimore. I was in a good mood. There's no infighting. There's no people arguing about who sucks and, this team sucks or this player is terrible or this or that. There's no
No, look, the vibes, I know
no disenfranchisement at all. Everybody's happy and jolly this week with Bills Mafia.
I think so. I'm kind of happy too. Like I'm still living on that high of going to that game. The Jets is going to be tough. Like I don't know who I'm picking in that game. I really think it's about Justin Fields. I know we talked about it before. Like if he's good in that game, it's going to be super interesting because it's going to be interesting. But yeah, everyone's on a high. Like that's the best home opener in Bills history, and it's one of the best games ever. And I understand people. I'm still on the high. That's why I was asking you.
I might disagree with you slightly. Maybe.
About the best home opener ever.
Maybe.
What do you think?
Slightly.
Okay.
Only old people would remember this, though.
The 80 Bills Dolphins.
Beat the Dolphins. You ended a decade of.
Sure.
You went an entire decade without beating your rival. But
sure. Yeah, but this one, I think more of like this was national game on Sunday night, Lamar versus Josh. Like, you know, I don't know who the hell was. That was Ferguson versus, I don't know, Don Strock or some asshole. But but yeah, I get what you're saying. But yeah, I'm excited. I still can't fathom, and then we talked about this, and I know you want to get out of here, but like, if I feel better about the Bills this season after that game. Because I still don't have a definitive answer. It's still like on par.
If they beat the Jets and they on the road and they avoid the letdown, I don't know how you don't feel better about this.
I would agree with that. But like, I need to see this defense, because that defensive showing, like I was by that when it was 40-25, I was already thinking to myself, like you were doing your notes. I was like, if I was on Pat's podcast tonight, I'd be like, Bobby Babbitt might get fired at some point this season if this shit keeps up. You know, like that's what I was at, like, because like this is like this is an abomination. Like, I know the Ravens are great, but you did kind of contain them last year, you know, in the playoffs, but obviously that didn't happen. So that's that.
This is if this was the Oscars or the
Emmys, you're playing your music.
I start playing you off. I pull up the screen. All right, for Joe from Queens, thank you again, everybody who is watching us live. Thank you everybody for listening. Thursday night, 6 p.m. Go to @Sale Sports. Like I said, I'm going to be live at Herbal IQ, Sal Capaccio's show, pandering, pizza, getting stoned, all the fun stuff. Make sure you guys check that out. And then on this show tomorrow, like I said, a full Bills Jets preview, bowl predictions, game preview or game predictions, all that stuff coming up on the show tomorrow.